All right. Welcome to After 40. I am so excited to be here today with Rich LaMonica. Rich LaMonica is a 22-year veteran of the United States Army, having served multiple deployments in support of the global war on terrorism. Throughout his military career, he developed into a seasoned leader, guided by mentors who emphasize the importance of taking care of people. After retiring in 2015, Rich spent a year reflecting on his transition to civilian life, gaining valuable insights that now fuel his passion for assisting fellow veterans in navigating their own transitions and overcoming life's challenges. He has written 2 books. One is an award-winning self-help book entitled 13-Step Guide to Success, and the fiction novel Out of Darkness. Currently, Rich is pursuing a PhD in Homeland Security from Liberty University, and he is the host of the Misfit Nation Show, a podcast he started with the goal of inspiring listeners to become better humans. So welcome, Rich. I'm really excited to have you here today.
Deborah, it's great to be here with you and be on the other side of the mic this time, so it's awesome.
Yeah. So I'd love to ask you just a few questions. I have 5 questions to ask you today,
Okay.
so that people can get to know you a little bit better on the other side of the microphone.
Right.
So my first question is, you have had a remarkable journey from military leadership to motivational speaking. What was the defining moment after leaving the Army that helped you find your new mission?
I think it was me going through that 1 year of reflection, self-reflection, not knowing what to do with my hands for 365 days. In the Army, you're given things to do every day. Every day you know what you're going to do. And then one day it just stopped and my next mission wasn't there. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And I wasn't getting those jobs right away. So during that time, I built my resilience. I built my calling, my purpose to help others instead of just saying, woe is me. I can use my journey to help others not have the same problems I did. So I started going into schools and speaking. I spoke for the Red Cross about my time in the military. That gave me my jump into speaking. And I think it was all purposeful and everything happened at the right time, at the right moment, until I fell into that first job. Excuse me. And when I fell into that first job, I found myself in front of a room full of people speaking again, but this time for the job. And I just feel comfortable when I'm speaking to people and knowing that they're receiving it and knowing that being a speaker now, I can get out there and just tell my story. It's just my story. And if it helps one person in that room, I've done my job.
How many, can you even tell me, do you even know how many talks you've given over the years?
It's not a lot, probably just under 20 now.
Wow. And you speak to schools and mostly children?
Middle school, high school, and then some events like the Red Cross.
Nice. Wow, that's so cool. Your motto is challenge accepted. What is one challenge you faced after 40 that truly tested your grit, and how did you overcome it?
So after 40, definitely losing my first soldier was right after I turned 40.
Wow.
That was 1 month after I turned 40. So it was December 31st, 2010. And I lost my first soldier in combat on my 3rd combat tour. And it tested everything from my inside to outside to keep calm and keep all the rest of my soldiers facing forward and not doing something they would regret and wind up on the news and not have their life when we came home. And getting through that till April of the next year and coming home whole was probably the biggest challenge I had after 40.
Wow. That really, I can understand why your motto would be a challenge accepted, but you didn't have to do that. How did you overcome it? I know that you said you had to be right there and, sort of put on the show that everything was okay for everybody, but how did you do that?
I think I reached down to teachings from my parents, and my dad and mom taught us resilience growing up in New Jersey, and you had to be resilient in New Jersey. If you fell down in New Jersey and you stayed down, then basically people would step all over you and do what you had to do. So when this happened, I just reached back and I said, what would Dad do? And I actually called him after it happened. He said, you have to be there for your men, because he was in the Army too in the late 50s. He didn't stay long, but he learned enough in that time to brush it off. And I just went out the next day and I sat them down. I talked to them and I got the resources they needed for them. And I really didn't take care of me until 5, 6 years later to really get help for me. But I made sure they had everything they needed to move forward at that time. And if I didn't do it for them, then I did it as we moved on in life.
You had that first challenge that came about in midlife. You were 40. You just stepped into midlife at that point.
Yes.
Do you think that your reaction would have been the same if you were 20 when that happened?
Oh, no, not at all. If I was 20 and that happened, I was just young, rich in the Army at that. I wasn't even in the Army time. I was still going to St. Peter's College in New Jersey at that time. I probably would have done something totally polar opposite and wound up in jail or something for having a polar opposite reaction.
Yeah. So, what do you think that life offered you that got you to have that ability to have the grace that you had when you faced that challenge?
I think besides my mom and dad, I had some great leaders in the Army. My first platoon sergeant was Humberto Lopez. That was in 1993. Excuse me. And he always challenged us every day. Every day he challenged us to go home at night. We had to do pull-ups and dips every day. 10 pull-ups, 10 dips every day to challenge us. And he would just sit there and watch us do it. He made his own pull-up and dip bar in his office and made us do it. But he'd also take care of us. He'd make sure we had the right studies going on, the right path for our careers, and took care of us. And at the time, we hated him because we had to do all that stuff to get out of work. But as time grew on in my military career, I knew all the lessons he was teaching me were good lessons to how to take care of your people, to make sure they take care of the next generation. And then probably the next one I ran into was Sergeant Douglas Jones, passed away a few years ago, but he would do everything for his soldiers and not for him. So when I met him, we were the same rank. We're both Sergeant E5s, and he was my platoon sergeant because he was in there longer. But then I passed him. I made staff sergeant, and then he stayed there, and he wound up going to drill sergeant, made staff sergeant. I made sergeant first class. He made sergeant first class. But in that time, he didn't go to school. He made sure everyone else went to school. He said, Rich, you got to go get college. I said, okay, I'll try it. I'll do what I can. I wasn't good at it, but I'll try it. I did it, and I made sure everyone else did it. He never did it. He never took care of himself until too late. And that's lessons I learned. Take care of others before you take care of yourself.
Wow. What a powerful memory. They were real mentors to you, it sounds like.
100%.
So you have interviewed so many inspiring guests on the Misfit Nation show. Has there been a story that changed your perspective or even your path since you've been doing your show?
I think I've had one guest that's been on 4 times now, Terry Ann Brown. She's an author, and she's always full of energy, great human being. And this year I had her on for her latest book that came out, and I didn't realize her husband had passed. And he was a Marine, so I always make jokes about Marines because that's what Army guys do. And when she was on, I started to say things about the Marines, and she said, "Oh, Rich, you don't know." And he had passed away like 2 weeks ago or a month ago.
Oh, wow.
And that was my first aha moment on the show where I was like, oh no, what do I do now? Because I just said that. I don't know how to recover. And I just had to recover as quick as possible and stay forward and just think positively about everything that she has done and will do in the future.
Wow. And wow, thanks for sharing that because yeah, how could you know? But how nice that you've had that person on 4 times and that you have that connection.
Every year she has a book every year. So every year she's come out with a book. She's called me and said, "Can I come out?" Yes, come back. So.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. 4 books, one every year.
Yes.
I'm inspired.
Yes. She's a very big inspiration.
Now you're also an author. So how did writing the 13-Step Guide to Success and Out of the Darkness help you to process your own evolution and how did it help you to mentor others?
All right, so the 13-Step Guide to Success came from COVID, kind of. So every month, at the last day of the month on Facebook, I'd write, "You made it through this level of Jumanji. You faced these challenges." Because, every month they gave these crazy challenges that we're going through. Next month, we'll face these challenges. And then the final month, I did 13 steps to be a better person. And my daughter just looked at me and said, "You need to publish that, Dad." So I wrote the book, and she was my editor, and she put it out, and here it is, 13-Step Guide to Success. She helped me with it the whole way, and basically it's how to be a better human. And it's not how to be a millionaire, how to start a business. It's just how to be a better human and build your community. And then Out of the Darkness, I was writing way before that. I'd write while I was in the Army, and I just write it and throw it away, Then I said, you know what? I got to stop doing that. If I'm telling people to do things, I have to do it. So I wrote it and I blazed through it and released it last September 11th, 2023. September 11th for, honoring 9/11. And it's about a soldier's journey, basically. At the start of the book, he's on top of a hill at the end of a battle. He smells the smells, sees the smoke, and thinks, how did I get here? And then it goes through the evolution, how we got to there, and then what happens to them when we come home, and PTSD and everything.
Where can people find both of these books?
Both of them are on Amazon. Out of the Darkness is on almost every electronic one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna get the both of them.
Okay.
Right.
Awesome.
As soon as we are done, I'm getting both of them, and I would encourage everyone else to also. What advice would you give to someone over 40 who feels like they've lost their purpose or that they're just starting over?
Don't feel down on yourselves. Remember all the lessons you learned growing up and up till 40. As you hit 40, I know it's a milestone. It's not something you want to say, I'm 40 and I'm still 20 in my mind. I'm still 20. But you have so much more to give the world. You have so many things you can do. Even if you're not the millionaire you wanted to be, you're still doing something awesome. You've done something awesome that some young man or woman wants to do the same thing you did. You can mentor that person and find that purpose that way. Just go back and give back, and you'll find inside yourself, your heart pumping a little more by helping that person. Like we talked in the pre-show about the people I'm helping, and it just helps. I think it helps me more than it helps her sometimes when I talk to her, but because she asks me so many questions, like I said. But I love doing it because I feel so much better at the end of the day when I help someone else, and I think that's what people over 40 need to start doing, and give. They need to start giving back and help the next generation become the leaders that we should be.
You live that. You have been giving back since you turned 40. This is all that I know. There's, I'm sure, a ton more, which I hope you'll tell me about. But you started a podcast. You wrote 2 books.
Yes.
A lot of people think that midlife is a time that it's over, that our lives are about our careers. But here you've done these things that are first in the service of others, right? You're serving others with these by putting out the books and doing the podcast. You also became a mentor with the Mentor Project, and you're getting your PhD.
Yes.
So that's a lot. It would be a lot for someone who's 20. It'd be a lot for someone who's 30. It'd be a lot for someone who's just 40. You're doing a whole lot out there. Do you think this is something that anybody could do?
I think if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. And I think a lot of this comes from my military background, the Army. I learned to thrive in chaos, and that's kind of what all that stuff together is, chaos, and I can thrive in it. If everything's calm, I don't know what to do with myself, but if everything's going in motion, I feel amazing, and I can just keep going forward. The PhD was a challenge accepted as well. I was told as I was finishing my master's, this is probably the last level you should go in education. You're not really an academic. I said, okay, challenge accepted. So I applied and got accepted, and here we are. So I took that challenge and did that. Do I regret it? No. I think it's an amazing challenge for me, an amazing thing. The podcast, I thought it would only be about 8 hours a week. It's not. That doing a podcast, it's way more than 8 hours a week to do, to get guests, to make sure things lined up. About 30 hours a week probably. Work, I still have a day job I do, and then, of course, mentoring others. So there's a lot of stuff goes on, but I still find time for everything and my family.
I think my aha moment today talking with you is challenge accepted. I think that isn't something that I've ever put as a midlife thing to strive for, but we should all be striving to say, once we hit midlife, challenge accepted. And you've done that like over and over and over again. What, other than, Amazon for your books, where can people find you? TheMisfitNation.com. It's just TheMisfitNation.com. It's all one word. All our stuff is there. All our audio shows, all our video shows. The books are there as well. If you want to just go one-stop shop, everything's right there. Contact us is there. If you contact us through the website, I usually get the email pretty quickly, and we answer most emails within 4 to 6 hours. So you'll get a response back to us pretty quick. And our shows are live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. And what would you like to leave? Do you have any final words that you'd like to leave with listeners today?
Sure. No matter if you feel like you're having a bad day or feel like you're going down a bad path, every day in our lives, something's going to go wrong. Just remember that every day, something's going to go wrong. Just chalk that up as a lesson and count the victories you have every day. Every day, things are going to go right as well. So you wake up in the morning, you make your bed. That's one victory. At the end of the day, say you have 19 victories today. Tomorrow, let's try to beat that, get 20, and keep doing that every day and stack those victories.
I love that. Stack those victories and making the victories digestible. I love that. One other place that people can find Rich is at the Mentor Project, mentorproject.org. He is one of our mentors, and we're very fortunate to have you. You're a really amazing mentor. You're an amazing person. Thank you for your service, Rich, and thank you for all that you do to make the world a better place. Until the next episode, you can also find what I'm going to be writing about Rich in a blog on Substack. So you can look at After 40 for that as well. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Deborah. This is awesome.